at my door yet.
We are live. And as we go live, Podfeet exits the room. Goodbye, Podfeet. That was great entrance.
Wait a minute. Where are you? I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, that's right. No, you can see me.
Oh, I'm not supposed to be able to see you.
But you can still hear me, right?
Yes, I can still hear you.
So I've decided not to be on video today because I've got a cold, but an eye infection in my face, I think.
And he's hideous.
It would be a distraction to the show, maybe. But I'll still be on audio.
He's terrifying.
You caught a glimpse of me, and you could see how hideous it was.
Yeah, that nobody wants to see that, dear.
Watching the race. Okay. We get half your attention. Maybe.
The video. You watching F1?
No, I think this is Indianapolis 500.
How do you know?
That's a typical
NASCAR,
Memorial Day.
So many NosillaCastaways are into F1. I'm thinking about starting a sub-community of them. Yope and Stephen Getz. Stephen Getz hardly ever plays with me anymore. He's always watching his stupid F1. Somebody else. Oh, Corky Heath.
Oh, Coca-Cola. It's not the Indy. But that was on earlier, correct?
All right. Well, I might do a show.
If you want. I mean.
Should we make sure people hear playback? Here's
Yes.
playback. Shh. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeed.com. Did we hear playback?
Heard it? Good.
All right. Good. I am going to start us off then. Here we go. Oh, no, it wants me to save. Ends yep. Hey, Kevin, what do you think about using that that thing that Ian came up with, the picture of me saying save now? When we thought you weren't going to be here, we put John in charge.
If you scroll up, you can see it. Here, I'll scroll up in the live show. But
right. What do you think about using that? I think that catches my attention better, Kevin.
You look like the mom in El Canto, or maybe the grandma.
El Canto?
Encanto.
Encanto.
I don't think you did roll call.
I did not do roll call because nobody reminded me.
Yep.
Well, I can do this one real quick. Kevin and Frank and Mike and John and Steve.
The diehards.
Where are all the ladies?
Even on Memorial Day, these guys don't quit, man. They are dedicated.
All right. Well, let's get this show on the road. It's not going to be a long one, but we'll get going here.
Oh, wait. You forgot.
I forgot what? And Kurt.
Did you freeze?
I don't see Kurt.
Well, he must have been in the sidebar.
He must be in the sidebar. Sorry, Kurt.
Yeah, he's in the sidebar.
Oh. Well, the problem is a lot of people are in the sidebar. Donald Burr, Tom Merritt, Beju, he hadn't been here in years. Bill Boutros, Dave Ginsburg, DSC Chipman. There's Frank, Barry, Mike, Katie Murray. I mean, I've got like 25 people in the sidebar, so I never know who's real over there.
They did what Kurt did what he was supposed to. Identify yourself if you're not called out. Well done, Kurt.
Good. He's not on live show. Listen, he is now, isn't he?
He's using the app apparently.
Oh, but does that let him? Does that let him listen though?
So it should, but
not if he's not in live show. Listen. Yeah, John.
No, but you could listen to the stream, the YouTube stream.
Well, he says usually I use the browser. He's not using the browser this time. He's using the app. But if he's not in live show, listen, then he can't hear me.
YouTube.
Can you hear me, Kurt?
You can hear YouTube, right?
Well, okay. I'm not going to try to fix it. You guys figure out whether...
I don't think anything needs to be fixed. I think it's working for him.
Let's do a test. Kurt, type yes if you can hear me.
Now, remember, there's a 35-second delay to YouTube, so your answer is going to come back late. But
okay.
Oh, well, maybe it's not 35. Maybe it's 10 seconds.
Okay, he said yes. There we go. Good.
So
there's
working.
no problem to be solved. Okay. You can mute your voice too, dear.
Oh, you want me to mute? Bye-bye.
Yes. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, May 26, 2024, and this is show number 994. Ooh, I love it when it does that. All right, I got a chapter mark here. Back over here. There we go. Actually, I suppose technically that only tells me to save, but it doesn't tell me. We need another one that says chapter marks with a cool picture.
Someone also came up with one of these AI images for chapter marks, but I can't remember what it was.
Somebody's going to have to go back and find Ian. I wonder if you could search Ian's name because he was the one who was doing it.
You could just search through this Discord. I don't want to do it because it'll.
Okay, I'm not going to either. I'm going to keep recording.
I think you should.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, I had the great fun of being on the Daily Tech News Show again this week with Tom Merritt, Sarah Lane, and Roger Chang. The main topic was the energy impact of AI and whether it's actually going badly or not. We get into the nuances of the way the data is being collected on this subject and what can be done to avoid adverse impact to climate change. Check out the Daily Tech News Show in your podcatcher of choice and look for DTNS 4777, Sustainable AI Computing. And of course, there's a link to the episode in the show notes. All right, I'm plugging all kinds of stuff this week. Okay, there's Kurt. Hi, Kurt.
Kurt found it. Oh, I'm sorry, John found it. If you scroll I guess it's that samurai with the U on his helmet for chapter mark.
That's the chapter mark?
Well, it has become the chapter mark insignia.
I forget what was that one though.
It's the save the samurai thing that Kevin posts.
Oh.
Or savor the samurai sausage will get you. I forget how that goes.
Okay. Save is the same. Okay, but that's save. That's not the one to tell me to do chapter marks.
Well, you can just emblazon that on your neurons. It is now.
Okay, that's the one that that can work. All right, here we go. See, I told you it'd be a mess. It's without Sandy here. Or Jill. You know, one of my favorite things is when friends of mine get together. Bart Buchatz had Jill from the North Woods on his show, Let's Talk Photography, and it was delightful. Jill has been building her podcast empire in small steps. See what I did there? And her latest show is called Buzz, Blossom, and Squeak. This show is about getting off the couch and going outside and enjoying nature by learning about what's around you. Bart has become a huge fan of her show and has combined what she's teaching with his daily walks and his love of photography. Two of my favorite people talking about their passions is the best thing ever. To hear Bart and Jill chatting, check out Let's Talk Photography number 128 at the link in the show notes, or subscribe to Let's Talk Photography in your podcatcher of choice. And don't forget to subscribe to Buzz, Blossom, and Squeak there too. Plug, 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 plug. Plug, 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 plug. Okay, how many people here know what the word SANS means?
I think it means without in plural in French.
Okay, but you
took...
took...
maybe not plural.
Yeah, but you took French in high school.
Just without.
Yes,
no
Kurt, that's right.
Without.
So everybody knows it's without. Now, do you know it because you took French, guys, or is it because you've seen sans serif so many times? It's the stuff on the beach. Yeah. Good, Kevin. All right.
So John knew it without taking French.
Okay. Was it because of sans serif? Oh, she took French in high school.
Is that how you learned it from your daughter, or did you just know that independently?
Sans souci from the Everybody's Fool novel. Because Bart used it in the title of this week's Programming by Stealth, Processing Arrays and Dictionaries Sans Explosion. And I told him he should write with it without, and he said, no, everybody knows what it is.
Wait. Oh, gotcha.
This is the title.
Gotcha.
Fonts may be the reason. Yeah, he thought maybe because of fonts people would know, but all right. This week's Chit Chat Across the Pond is another episode of Programming by Stealth. And in this penultimate JQ episode, Bart introduces us to 3 new ways to process arrays and dictionaries without exploding them first. I know, that sounds crazy. We've always exploded our arrays first. He teaches us how to use the reduce operator, which lets us take an entire array or dictionary and reduce it down to one thing. The map function lets us process every element in an array or values in a dictionary and return a new array. Finally, map_values lets us apply a function against all of the values in a dictionary or an array. It was a bittersweet ending to the primary series on JQ for Bart, but next time he'll do the epilogue, where he'll introduce us to some rarely needed but still very useful things you can do in JQ. Remember, you can always find Bart's fabulous tutorial show notes for Programming by Stealth at pbs.bartificer.net. You exploded your dictionaries. Alrighty. And we'll go back here.
So Kevin's combined the chapter mark and the save into one.
Okay, so now it's all of the text on screen.
Yeah, so I don't think you need the text, right?
No,
I think just
so.
the image will do it.
I mean, as long as, what I really need is just people to watch and see if I put in a chapter mark before I start yapping. That's the real
what
thing.
I try to do as well. That's why I flip over to the to Hindenburg right as you record.
Yeah, that's what I really need is to see if you don't see me put in a chapter mark, especially before security bits. That's the one I usually forget. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm getting super excited about Macstock for this year, and I have a special coupon for listeners. It's a little early in the... I'm getting super excited about Macstock for this year, and I have a special coupon to make it a little less expensive for all of the listeners. It's a little bit earlier in the year this time. It's July 12th, 13th, and 14th in Woodstock, Illinois, which is just an hour outside of Chicago. On Friday, there will be workshops this year where you can get hands-on with an instructor. I'm doing one of the workshops where I'm going to teach you as many of my Tiny Mac tips as I can in 45 minutes. Then there are full-day sessions on Saturday and Sunday. I haven't completely decided... Well, actually, I did decide on my final topic. Yeah, I'll just say I didn't. I haven't chosen my final topic yet, but I know it's going to be fun and interesting. I like to kind of keep Mike Potter on the edge, wondering what I'm going to talk about. It's going to be great. Anyway, you can get a weekend pass for $299, and if you want to attend the workshops too on Friday, that'll run you $399. But if you want to get $30 off your registration to Macstock 2024, use coupon code PODFEET, all capital letters. I'll get $30 too if you use the coupon code, so everybody wins. If you're interested in joining us, go to max.conferenceandexpo.com to learn more and sign up. It's awesome. You should totally come.
Okay, people are asking, how do you tell a chapter mark? So she's going to put one in, but look for a little purple dot that'll be just above the audio waveform. It's on kind of the number part of the timeline.
Okay, hang on. Here we go.
There
when I do that, you see it says marker 7, but I'm going to copy the title here, and I'm going to put it in there. I do a lot of stuff. There it is, and then I come back over here, and I copy the link, and then I hit tab over here, and I hit enter.
And show them with your cursor, yeah.
It's not just a purple dot. It also says a pencil with a gyroscope inside.
Yeah, but we can't read that. It's very difficult.
But there's this big blue line here, too.
I know, it's big for you, but not for us.
It's bigger than that little tiny purple dot.
Well, the purple dot, to me, is the what I look for.
Really?
I can't read the text. It's too small.
No, but this giant blue bar isn't bigger than the tiny purple dot?
I can't tell if that blue bar is associated with that point in the timeline.
It is.
I know.
See, when I hit Macstock 2024, it jumps to that one. When I hit Chit Chat, it jumps to that one.
That's not obvious where it's jumping when I look at from my perspective. All I'm looking for is when you put that purple dot in, I know you've put a chapter mark. You may not have named it correctly, but the chapter mark's there. Also, I look for you recording, and so I'm looking for red audio waveform.
He's not feeling well today, so he's not making as much sense as usual.
I'm under medication right now.
Yes, he's quite medicated. All right. It's going to be a long one. Get ready. Here we go. Well, there's been a lot of hype around the new M4 iPad Pro just announced recently, mostly by tech pundits saying how amazing the hardware is and in their second breath telling us how disappointed they are in iPad OS. Apple made it thinner, lighter, faster, and gave us an OLED display, but that isn't enough to hold them over till at least WWDC in June. I'm not suggesting they don't have real points to make, but I, for one, have grown weary of the lack of celebration of this new device. So to buck the trend, let's talk about the new OLED M4 iPad Pro and the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil Pro without whining about the operating system. How about the 13-inch iPad Pro? And this will make it my third of the big girl size iPad. I justified upgrading my M1 12.9-inch iPad Pro because my son had my original iPad Pro, and it was getting pretty long in the tooth. An important reason to have children is to be able to justify handing things down. When reviewing the myriad USB-C displays I've been testing, I told you that OLED was life-changing. The OLED USB-C displays are so darn thin and light and provide such dramatically better colors and brightness than their LCD predecessors. The primary reason I bought a new iPad Pro this go-around was to get that OLED display, and for the children. When I first fired up the OLED iPad Pro, I compared it side by side with the M1, and I called Steve in to help me assess the difference. I hate to say this, but that darn Liquid Retina XDR display in the M1 iPad Pro is so darn good, we could barely tell the difference when comparing it to the OLED M4. Even photos taken in HDR, there really wasn't a dramatic difference to our eyes. Now don't get me wrong, the OLED display looks great, but the previous generation display looks so good, the difference isn't nearly as dramatic as I'd expected. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, oh, Steve and Allison are really old at 66, so they probably just can't see the difference. But remember, I had cataract surgery a few years back, and I have the best vision of my life. So let's look at this as good news. If you really want to upgrade your iPad Pro and you just can't justify the cost, maybe you'll be happier knowing it's great, but not that much better than the most recent generations. Now, the hardware is fast, but I don't remember waiting for my iPads to do things, so I'm not blown away by the speed of the new iPad. The battery life on the new iPad is definitely better than a 3-year-old M1, so that's swell. The new iPad Pro, as I'm sure you've heard, is both thinner and lighter. I'm a big fan of the iPad Pro Magic Keyboard, and I'll get into talking about that a little bit more in a minute, and it got thinner and lighter too. I weighed both the M1 and M4 with their Magic Keyboards and their Apple Pencils. The new one was 9% lighter than the old one. That's a nice improvement, but the M4 with the keyboard and pencil weighed 2.81 pounds. As a point of comparison, the current M3 13-inch MacBook Air weighs a smidge less at 2.7 pounds. So if you've picked up a 13-inch MacBook Air, it's a little bit less than my iPad. Now, having the camera on the landscape side is fantastic. It's certainly a big improvement for video calls, but it also means Face ID works so much more reliably now than ever before. I mean, it works every single time. I'd gotten pretty good at not having my hand covering the old camera on the side, but even at that, it was awkward to get your face in the right place. Now it never fails. One thing I'm pleased with is the heat dissipation on the new M4 iPad Pro. My previous iPad Pros used to get uncomfortably hot in the bottom right during specific applications. When I'm super bored, I sometimes open a kid's coloring book app and color farm animals and such. In the time it took me to color a single page, the palm of my hand would get super hot and uncomfortable. I tested the app with the new iPad Pro, and it never got warm to the touch. So, yay! I'm going to stop for a second. I am not seeing that picture in my preview. That's really weird.
I've got it in the post.
Good. I see a big empty rectangle.
It's there. I just posted it.
Yeah, I was glad to see that. Okay, there's the samurai. He must be, what is he telling me? Is he telling me to do chapter
That's
marks?
a save.
Oh, that's a save. Okay. Okay, so if I see random big things, I'll save. You're going to do the M4 to replace the 2018? Now that you're going to notice a difference. I talked to somebody who did that, went from a pre-Liquid Retina version to the M4, and that was a big difference.
Yeah. By the way, he was suggesting you buy that.
Oh, for him. Sorry, missed that part. All right. I do want to talk a little bit about the Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro. My first keypad for... First keypad? I do want to talk a little bit about the Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro. My first keyboard for iPad Pro was the Keyboard Folio. I loved it because it was super light and had a decent keyboard for typing. When the Magic Keyboard came out, I bought one for my 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and other than the fact that it was super heavy, I loved it. I didn't think I needed or would even use a trackpad on an iPad because, you got a touchscreen right there. What do you need a trackpad for? But after using it for about a month, I tried the Folio keyboard again, and I found that I was constantly reaching for that trackpad. I also find typing on the Magic Keyboard for iPad to be delightful. I know people love the Keyboard Folio, and many are super sad that it's no longer available for the new iPads, and I'm sad on their behalf. Here's one thought, though. I haven't been able to independently verify this, but I heard on one podcast that the weight of the new Magic Keyboard plus new iPad is the same as the old iPad weight with the Folio case. So it would be just about the same, so that would take the sting out of the weight of the new keyboard. Still costs a fortune, but we'll talk about that in a minute, too. The first Magic Keyboard I bought for my iPad Pro was black. The second one I bought was white. Now, you're going to think this is nutty, but the white one wore better over time than the black one. You see, the main problem with the black one is that if it gets a scratch in it, the scratch will be white. If the white one gets worn, what's underneath it is also white. I also cleaned it pretty often to keep it looking really nice. Now, the reason I bought a replacement for the black Magic Keyboard and went to the white one wasn't because of the scratches. It was because the caps key on the left side got sticky. It would depress, but it would take forever to come back up. I kept the black one in a box because I couldn't bear to get rid of it. When I gave my son the M1 iPad Pro, I offered him the choice of the black or the white keyboard. I had entirely forgotten by that time that the shift key was sticky. As soon as he tried it, he said, nope, and he switched to the white one. But while I was still there, I thought, I wonder if there's a way to fix that sticky key. Sure enough, I found a YouTube video entitled, How to Fix Stuck Keys on the iPad Pro Magic Keyboard. Turns out those little keycaps can be pried off with a thin blade. The shift key is a little different, but luckily he happened to demo it using the shift key. After I removed the keycap, following his instructions, I didn't see anything obvious under the key, but I swiped around with a Q-tip like he suggested, and I put it back together. It's not as good as the right shift key, but it's a lot better than it was. Now, Kyle still opted for the white one, but now I have a fully functional black 12.9-inch Magic Keyboard that needs a good home since it won't fit on the new M4 iPad Pro. If you know someone who might be interested, let me know. Now let's move forward to the new Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro. It's really hard to say keyboard for iPad Pro. I keep wanting to say keypad. Anyway, the typing experience on this is just as great as it was with the previous generation, but now I have an escape key. I know that's an odd thing to be so excited about, but it's great for dismissing pop-up windows and applications. So far, not all apps support it yet, but enough do that I'm still really happy to have it. I'd actually remapped my control key to escape because I needed it so often. Now, they changed the way the volume keys work on the iPad Pro, and I'm very cross about it. iPads have something called dynamic volume buttons. This means that the up volume button swaps when you move between landscape and portrait. I consider that anarchy, and I always turn that feature off. That meant that no matter the orientation of my iPad, volume up was always the one closest to the corner. Now, for some reason, I cannot fathom the new iPads do not allow you to turn off dynamic volume buttons. That means when my iPad is in landscape mode, the button farther away from the corner is the volume up button. After 5 or 6 years of using an iPad, what the heck? Okay, something's really wrong here.
I can fix that. There's no space
No.
before after.
That's another problem, but sure, go ahead and fix it. I ran out of text. My preview isn't showing me the rest of the text. Something is wrong with Mars Edit.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I'm out of stuff to read. I'm done.
Well, I guess the article.
Thanks, everybody.
Do you want me to copy and paste this and send it to you?
No, I've got the text in a bad way to read it. I'm going to quit
go
Mars
to the
Edit.
blog post.
I could, but everything's harder if I don't have this.
Okay. It's okay though if I edit this.
Yes, thank you. Let's see if that fixes it. It started when wait, that's not the right one. I need Pencil with a gyroscope. Let's see if things got better. Oh, yeah, all my pictures are back. Okay, where was I? Oh, I should save. After 5 or 6 years. Show's over, folks. Where is it? After 5 or 6 years. Where's that?
It's right under the iPads have something similar called dynamic
There we go.
volume.
Right, there we go. Thank you. After 5 or 6 years of using an iPad, it's driving me crazy that it's backwards now. I cannot get used to it. Well, the good news is that the new Magic Keyboard has a row of function keys, and it includes mute, volume up, and volume down. I'm just going to use those and ignore the built-in hardware buttons. I'm excited about the keyboard brightness controls because no matter how often I tell my Macs, iPhones, and iPads that I always want my screens at full brightness and I don't want auto-dimming, the auto-dimming feature just keeps turning itself back on. I've given up trying to solve this, and I just raise the brightness several times a day. Now I can do it from the keyboard. It's also got a Do Not Disturb button, which will be great. One of my favorite things about continuity amongst Apple products is how enabling Do Not Disturb on one device enables it on all of your devices, if they're on the same Wi-Fi network and logged into the same Apple ID, that is. Now, I know the trackpad is bigger on the new keyboard because I remember hearing that from the announcement, but to be honest, I didn't notice the change before giving up my older iPad to my son. I guess it's because I never thought the original trackpad was too small. And what is a dramatic change is that the surface around the keys and where your palm rests are is a nice brushed aluminum. The palm rests on the white Magic Keyboard were a real bear to get clean, and they never really looked perfect after a while. On the black Magic Keyboard, they wore so they were shiny, and they didn't look great over time either. The aluminum should wear much better. There's one thing I don't like about the aluminum, and it's that the hinge is also aluminum. It will certainly wear better, but it causes a problem when opening the keyboard. With a laptop, the screen is always much lighter than the computer itself. That means with a laptop on a tabletop, it's pretty easy to pull on the screen in the little notch for your finger and open the screen right up without moving the laptop. But with the iPad Pro, the screen is the computer, so it usually weighs more than the keyboard side. There also isn't a notch for your finger to pry it open. The way I've always opened an iPad Pro in a Magic Keyboard case is to stand it on edge on the hinge and pull the two pieces apart with my fingers and then set it down flat. That worked great with a soft vinyl cover on the hinge, but with a metal hinge, it kind of slides around on the desk or table while I'm trying to pry it open, and I'm afraid I'm going to scratch up the surface it's on too. I'm practicing alternative ways to get it open when it's on a surface without picking it up, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet, so if anybody has good advice on a strategy there, I'd like to hear about it. Now, the Magic Keyboard for the 13-inch iPad Pro will run you $350, which is a painful price. But I found something that might make it sound more reasonable. It's still not reasonable, but it sounds reasonable after this. Microsoft announced some new devices this week, including the Surface Pro Flex keyboard. Like the Magic Keyboard for iPad, you connect the Flex keyboard to a Surface Pro tablet, and it gives you a keyboard with a nice trackpad on your tablet. The Flex also comes with the Slim Pen 2, which from looking at the specs appears to be fairly equivalent to an iPad Pencil in capability. The price of the Flex keyboard for Surface Pro is $450, but remember it includes that little Slim Pen too. So if you add up the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil, you're going to spend $29 more than you would if you bought the Flex keypad for Surface Pro, so they're pretty close in price. Maybe it doesn't help that both companies are committing highway robbery, but at least Apple isn't much worse than Microsoft. See, don't you feel better now? Well, now let's talk about Apple Pencil Pro. I've had the first and second generation Apple Pencil, and I really enjoyed using them. I was bummed to have to buy a new one, since I actually have 3 of the second generation pencils. But since the older ones don't work on the new iPad Pro, I had no choice but to buy yet another pencil. I'm also annoyed that it looks like I need to update the diagram I created just 6 months ago to try to explain what pencils work with which iPads. At least this time around, Apple have done a little better job than before of diagramming it themselves. They have a web page to buy Apple Pencil where they show the Apple Pencil Pro, Apple Pencil second generation, Apple Pencil USB-C, and Apple Pencil first generation, and they show you for all the different features, they have little check marks for which pencils can do what. But that chart doesn't tell you which iPads support which pencils. To get to that information, you have to go to the iPads and click on Compare. Then you can choose up to 3 iPads to compare, and if you scroll down, you can see which pencils those iPads support. While you're there, you can see which keyboards each iPad supports as well. Now, I'm not promising I'll do a new diagram, but it sounds kind of fun, so don't be surprised if I do. Let's talk about Apple Pencil Pro a little bit more. It shares many of the important features of the second generation Apple Pencil, like pixel save and let's try that again. Let's talk specifically about Apple Pencil Pro. It shares many of the important features of the second generation Apple Pencil, like pixel perfect precision, low latency, along with tilt and pressure sensitivity. It also supports hover, which allows you to preview your mark before you make it. This is my first iPad that takes advantage of hover. I know it's been out for a little while, but I find it really cool. Apple Pencil Pro even supports the clumsy gesture of the earlier Apple Pencil that allows you to double tap the flat side of the pencil to swap your drawing tool with the eraser. I don't know if you've ever tried to use that gesture, but in my experience, I often double tap it accidentally and don't realize until I'm suddenly erasing instead of drawing. Or I try to double tap it and I end up triple tapping it and I wind up back with the tool I started with. Well, Apple Pencil Pro comes with 2 new gestures. Apple Notes supports these gestures now, and I can't wait for all of the app developers to use the API to add them to their applications. The more useful one to me is the ability to squeeze Apple Pencil Pro, and when you feel the haptic feedback, a palette of tools and an arc appears conveniently close to where you're hovering. It doesn't show all of the tools, so you actually have to swipe in the arc with your finger to expose all of them. The second gesture is that you can roll the pencil to change the orientation of the tool. Let's say it was a flat, thin brush line. Rolling the barrel of the pencil would change the thickness from horizontal to vertical or diagonal. Now, I think it's a real miss that you can't use this barrel roll to move about the palette of tools after the haptic squeeze. The fun of exposing the tools with pencil is erased since you have to then tap and drag with your finger anyway. It's early days, so entirely possible Apple will add it to the API and allow that gesture to do a lot more than rotate a tool. I was mentioning this to Bart, and he got all excited and said, apple.com/feedback, Allison. Okay, fine, I probably will. All right, let's dig into how that barrel roll gesture is created, though. It's kind of an interesting idea. When Apple announced this new gesture, they said it was accomplished using a gyroscope built into Apple Pencil. Now, my work as an engineer at an aerospace company included work using gyroscopes, so I thought it might be fun to insert a little engineering lesson here. Fun for me, at least. I'm not sure if you're going to enjoy it as much as I will. If you were ever a child at one time, you probably played with a gyroscope. Remember winding up the string around the post and then pulling it real hard so the gyroscope would spin as fast as possible? Once it was spinning, you could stand it up and it would balance as long as it was spinning quickly enough. But when it slowed down and stopped, it would fall over. You could even set it on its little pedestal at an angle while it was spinning, and it would continue to balance as long as it was spinning. This was crazy because the center of gravity was way off to the side, and it should have made it fall immediately. What appears to be a trick here is actually the preservation of angular momentum. The gyroscope actually resists any changes to that axis of rotation. When you were a kid, or even an adult who likes to experiment, did you ever play with the front wheel of your bicycle? Maybe you were supposed to be changing the inner tube, so you took the wheel off the bike, but then you had your buddy spin it while you held onto the axle? What you might have noticed is that while it was spinning, it was really hard to rotate it against that spinning motion. You can actually feel the resistance when you do this. I found an article that explains the gyroscopic effects in a pretty nerdy way over at lumenlearning.com. And in that article, they actually show a woman holding a bike wheel. So it wasn't just me who played around like this. But what does all this have to do with Apple Pencil Pro and its gyroscope? Hang on a minute, I'm getting there. Since a gyroscope resists turning in the plane perpendicular to the axis of rotation, and as we talked about it, you can feel that resistive force, it means you can measure that resistive force. If you can measure it, you can use that information. Inside Apple's Pencil Pro, the electronics can measure the resistive force of the gyroscope as you turn the barrel, and that tells the software what action you've taken. Isn't that cool? Maybe it is just me that thinks it's cool. Well, speaking of the magic backed by science of Apple Pencil Pro, it has another really nifty party trick. While the previous generation iPads had hover, where you can see where you're going to write or draw before you actually touch the iPad with pencil, the Apple Pencil Pro with the new iPads actually shows you a shadow of the tool you've chosen. I know, this is crazy in the whole gyroscope story, isn't it? If the developer has enabled the API, when you've got a pen selected for Apple Pencil Pro, you see the shadow of a pen. If you choose the eraser, it looks like a cylindrical pencil eraser. It's so cool. But the niftiest one is the fountain pen. It's spooky, it's so cool. While keeping the Apple Pencil tip near the iPad, if you move the angle of the pencil around, the shadow kind of moves around with it. I suspect our little friend the gyro might be involved in figuring out the angle. It's got to be more to it than that. Maybe it's magic pixie dust. I don't know. Well, at first, I thought the cool shadow of the actual tool chosen was just a party trick with no intrinsic value. But I started thinking about it. Have you ever gone to draw with pencil and forgotten that you had the eraser chosen, so you actually end up removing something instead? It's not that hard to hit undo and switch tools, but what if you could see before you touch the iPad that it was an eraser instead of a paintbrush? That would alert you to the fact before making a mistake. Plus, it's a really cool party trick. Well, speaking of cool things about Apple Pencil Pro, it now supports Find My. That would have saved me $149 a few years back when I couldn't find mine. Wait, are they $149 or $129? Must be $129. Can you change that $149 to $129, darling?
Okay.
Okay. Well, speaking of cool thank you. Thank you, Kevin. I will sell you one for $149. By the way, if anybody wants to make me an offer on my spare Apple pencils, let me know. Speaking of cool things about Apple Pencil Pro, it now supports Find My. That would have saved me a bunch of money a few years back when I couldn't find mine. I ended up having to pay $129 for a new one after looking for it for weeks. And then when my son-in-law came over, I offered him $20 if he could find my original one. And you know what? He found it in about 30 seconds right where I was looking in my couch cushions. Anyway, Find My with Apple Pencil Pro has a few oddities about it. I tried to find my pencil with my iPhone, and it wasn't listed amongst my devices. When I looked in Find My with my iPad Pro, it was listed. I suppose it makes sense that you'd have to have an iPad if you had a pencil, but I thought the Find My network would show it on any of my devices. That was my first clue that this isn't normal Find My going on here. The second oddity was that after I selected the pencil in Find My from the iPad, it told me it wouldn't work in landscape orientation, and it told me to rotate the iPad into portrait orientation. Why the heck would that be? I don't really know. Well, after you obey the instructions to rotate the iPad, you'll get a large set of concentric circles with a solid blue circle in the center. As you get closer to the Apple Pencil Pro, the solid green circle will get bigger, and the words on the screen will change from saying far to near to within reach. Would you mind changing those words from green circle to blue circle, Steve? I read it correctly, but the text is wrong.
Okay.
Okay. His voice is so cute when he's sick. All right. Now, while you're wandering around your house looking for your pencil holding a giant iPad in portrait orientation, you won't be given any directional information. It's more like playing that kid's game where your friends would yell, hotter, 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 colder, colder, colder. Unlike Find My iPhone, iPad, or Mac, or Find My devices with AirTags, Pencil also doesn't make a sound to help you find it in the couch cushions. All of these curious differences suggest they're not using the ultra-wideband chip used in devices like the iPhone to find Apple Pencil Pro. I found a note in a Mac Rumors article about Apple Pencil Pro that says that they're simply using Bluetooth, not a UWB chip. I guess it's better than no Find My at all, but I did find it kind of curious. To get out of a Find My on my iPad, by the way, you simply put the pencil back on the magnetic connector and it disappears. Well, the pencil doesn't disappear, the whole Find My thing disappears. The bottom line is I'm having a lot of fun with the new iPad Pro, and I love the new Magic Keyboard, especially with the Escape key and Function keys. I like that it's lighter, a bit faster, and a bit brighter. The Apple Pencil Pro has enough new fun features to make it feel really new. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about gyroscopes and how they let Apple give us spin control of Apple Pencil. Now, if I could figure out how it draws the shadow, I'd be satisfied. Yeah. Okay.
Right,
24 minutes
24 minutes what?
of recording.
Let me check. Yep, you're right. 24.
Yeah. So I am going to do... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the, even though...
So are you only doing one video?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the main thing is I want to hear back from the people at Wonder or whatever it is. What are they called? Today something?
Yeah, today, tomorrow, something.
And I've got a nice long...
That's the Smell-O-Vision one?
Yeah. Paints you can smell. All right. Let's say one quick silly thing here. Oh, I lost one thing I was going to say. Let's just go right into it. I'm getting hungry, Steve. What's for dinner tonight?
What do you
Chicken!
think?
Sunday, it's chicken. How it draws the shadow, I'd be satisfied. I like to stop by the J5 Create. I think I better tell people we're still milking those CES video interviews.
Yeah, that was January 10th.
We're going to try to be done by June.
No, this was the last one, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Shoot.
for CES. We still have some
Is it?
CSUN. Yeah. We have like 4 CSUNs left.
Of what year? You sure it's the last one?
I can check pretty quick. if you'd
Okay.
like. Hold on. You gonna say something about it?
Yeah, but I'm going to say...
Yes. Hold, please. Yeah, that was it. For CES.
All right. Well, we've really milked those CES interviews this year, and we're bringing you our very last interview from CES in January. What was that noise? Oh, you didn't mute.
Oh, shoot. I didn't mute.
In January.
That didn't come in on the recording.
I like to stop by... No, it's just distracting.
Like this? Is that distracting?
Uh-huh. It's distracting for me. All right. That's good. Oh, I think you guys are going to... I got a really creative... thank you, Kevin. I got a really creative support the show this time. I was listening to Bodie Grimm and Rob Dunwood's new podcast, Beyond the Post, and they were talking about different ways podcasters can make money. One way they talked about was by sponsored shows. This is where someone pays you to say something or blog something. Now, I've probably never mentioned to you that I get requests for this all the time. Here's an example I got just this week, entitled Sponsored Post for Your Blog. This person wrote, I'm reaching out because I would like to provide a quality post on your site and I had some ideas. I think your audience would positively love it. I'm reaching out to see if you'd be interested in featuring a sponsored post. I believe I can add value to your audience and I think it would resonate with your readers for sure. Our content is always unique, relevant, informative, and interesting. Wow, doesn't that sound like something I should do? No, that would be dreadful. I never say yes to these requests or even respond to them. I could make money that way to offset the cost of creating these shows for you, but instead, I choose to rely on your generosity in donating to the show via Patreon and PayPal. If you can afford to do it, please go to podfeed.com/Patreon or podfeed.com/PayPal and help support the show. How's that?
That's pretty creative.
I don't know what it is about that save now thing. I think that's so cute. Okay, I'm putting in security bits.
Oh, boy.
So it's about time to...
At 31 minutes, you're going to add, what, another hour?
Yep, 52.
Seriously? Okay.
Yeah. Well, then next week I'm going to have hardly anything to talk about. But actually, I've got a couple of things up my sleeve. Wait, that was me. Let me do Bart's. We could not get Zoom to work today. yesterday I could not hear, yesterday I could not hear Steve or Bart. And today Bart could not hear me. And I was able to fix mine by rebooting. And, but he was not. He rebooted his machine, nothing, he could get no sound out. Like, you can do a test recording where you talk into your mic and then you try to hear back and he couldn't hear anything. So I think something's wrong with Zoom. So we ended up recording in Skype. So you might hear some crackling. I don't think so because I kept our opposite recording. So we should be okay. But
wait, you're not going to delete that, are you?
I was about to. Here you go, dear. Blink.
There you go. You can delete.
Blink. Blink.
You can also overdo it.
Oh, forgot the music. Security bits. Down there. And that means these two should go here. Are you prepared to listen for the transition?
Always.
Pal, and help support the show. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for security.
Pretty good
Nailed
for
it.
the
Bart
first
Blue
shot.
Shots. What doom and gloom do we have this week, Bart?
You mean other than the weather?
Poor Bart.
Yeah, we got some thunderstorms here. There's a giant big red exclamation point in my weather app. Something about severe weather alert thunderstorms. Yeah, I see why.
For the first time ever, I may have beat Bart on bad weather, but we didn't do it from California. We were in Houston visiting Kyle and his kids, and we drove into what turned out to be a tornado. So, I mean,
Yeah.
tornadoing, but it was 54 miles per hour and rain like we've never seen driving on the freeway. But people in Texas know how to drive in rain. They immediately all slowed down, stayed the same distance apart, because if you couldn't see the taillights of the person in front of you, you had no idea where the road
Nothing.
was. And they all put their blinkers on. They're flashers. They're, what do you call it? The emergency flasher,
Yeah.
the thing that blinks your lights on and off. And that worked really well. And that's why we're alive today. But 200,000 people were without power because of that tornado hitting Houston. That was terrifying, huh, Steve?
It was probably the most tense driving I've been in.
It was
We
kind of
did- to make it
interesting.
clear,
Both of
we-
us
we-
kept leaning forward, like that would help.
I just want to make it clear, we weren't in a tornado. We were in a tornado warning area, but it felt like one was right around the corner by the speed of the wind and the volume of rain. And, I mean, you could feel buffet the car, and it was very difficult to see, except when the windshield wiper swiped, and then immediately you couldn't see again.
Just for a split second.
You got like every second you got a good view, like undersampling.
I'm going to fix a cough on Bart's part here, I think. Ooh, I found it. Look at me.
How did you know where that was? Oh,
Okay, here's how good I am. So this started at 3137. If you go to this website, this is this amazing tool that lets you add and subtract
where'd you get
elapsed
that?
time. So I had written down that he coughed at 6:07.
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna cut that out. Let's see.
So let's just nip all that in the bud. Nothing, no.
And you cut both timelines, yeah.
Yeah, I hope I did.
You did. It looks like.
Got a little bit more there. And then 620. So I'm going to add 620 in, and that would be 3744. But I cut a little bit.
Yeah.
3744. But it was
You want
just
to
a
do
few
this
minutes.
right? Go back to front.
Yeah, I should have.
Excuse me, I managed to get something caught in my throat.
There it is. Look at me using the tools.
Yep.
All right. Bye, Kurt.
Thanks for coming, Kurt.
All right. We are almost done. What is that, GIF?
Looks like Annie.
Oh.
M. Well, not Annie M, but Dorothy.
It does. Okay. Uh-oh. No, I didn't do something right.
It was, wasn't it? Everything from
super
thunderstorms
fun.
to...
Uh-oh. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I've gone too far.
So what I say it was 30, shoot, 6, this should have been 07. So
Wait a minute.
3731.
I think you made it Control Z one too far.
No.
Look, because the music down below doesn't.
Oh, you're right. Okay. So now, if
And you don't play it? Oh, you controlled.
Yeah, Control Z. Oh, jeez. It's not going to do it for me. Hang on. Let me get to the other end. Uh-oh.
How did that happen?
Yeah, you guys can see the problem I'm looking at, right?
The Skype did that to you?
So, yay.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing it already, Bart, and that's kept either of us from being able to hear each other. Oh, man, this is bad.
You got some work to do.
I do. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. I don't know whether you guys want to sit and watch this, but I'm going to be here for a while.
Nobody does.
Thanks for the support. You broke it. No, I didn't. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, what's that? Okay, no, that's where it starts. Okay, yeah, I'm going to have to figure out where the slip happened, but yeah, we had a...
Hopefully it's just one slip.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we normally do talk over each other a little bit with the
Not that
delays we have. That's
So that looks good. Play that right there.
Yeah.
Best as I can, because that seems like the best way to
quiet.
fail.
But this is still not a good story. This is still bad.
No, it's still bad, but the
Okay.
important thing
It's not
is
as bad as it could have been.
it's a long, long way from as bad as it could have been. Because
Okay. I think it'll be obvious when it happens. It's
Yeah,
like
that
that.
still
that's
looks
Apple's do it on device mentality in action.
Okay. Still okay. Still okay. Still okay. Looks okay. Looks okay. Luckily, in security bits, he talks most of the time. So my little interjections. That's start. Dang it. That's starting to look wrong,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's
Successfully detect someone snatching your phone and running away with it. So they believe that.
Yep. Okay, so
That's where Bart predicts the future.
I'm gonna try grabbing that piece.
They can successfully detect someone snatching your phone and running away with it.
What?
So they believe this when that happens.
Okay, that's bananas. I love it.
I love it. I hope it's true. I hope.
Okay. All right, that looks better.
Photography. So, yay.
Maybe they're doing it already, Bart, and that's kept either of us from being able to hear each other. We can always use Zoom, and we are on Skype right now.
He's
Happened
much
to me
louder
yesterday.
now.
I couldn't hear Bart today. Yeah, I
Or
pumped
did
it
you
up.
boost it? Okay.
I boosted it up, but Bart can't hear me on Zoom, so maybe they've a little overly encrypted it.
Maybe.
Okay, so this looks okay.
Little
It looks like
slippage
it's
there.
slipping again.
Yeah, so
Not
it's-
us.
That's
You just
the
hang
worst
up.
kind of
Brilliant.
time asynchronous.
That's interesting. That is a cool idea. I don't know how many people.
Well, it
would
has
think
to be
do
matched
that.
with.
Isn't editing fun?
Yeah, I remember people used to complain about this.
Yeah, I thought they
And-
solved that.
Brilliant.
That's interesting.
Uh,
I never
uh,
had the
that
problem.
is a cool-
Well, it has to
but-
be matched with an appropriate.
Okay, we're gonna assume that. Oh, God, no, it's slipping.
It's continuing to slip.
Yeah. Jeez.
Running cool software at home. So
wait a minute. You can use the professional stuff. Can you use the regular stuff for free? Yep, I can see it slipping. Look at that.
I think there's a song that should be
Slip
playing
sliding
right
away.
now. No,
and
I
you
was
can just use
thinking
our stuff.
The Steve Miller
So
band.
to be clear, this is virtualization software that allows you to run other operating systems.
Come on, chat
your
room.
Mac.
Give me the song. There you go. Steve Miller.
Or
but
your
what's the
PC,
song?
or your Linux. All
Is it
three
the
versions have
Joker?
been made free. Windows
No,
and
it's
X
not
Mac.
the Joker. It's
The X
Fly
Mac.
Like an Eagle. Thank you.
Okay, that never happens when somebody's. What's the song though? You can't just say
I'm not
Steve
going to
Miller.
sing it.
Well, it doesn't do me any good. Steve Miller, great.
Here.
Fly like an eagle.
You don't. That doesn't. That's right. You don't listen to music. Here, I'll
Slip
play
sliding
it.
away is all I'm thinking of.
Collect all the pennies.
Yeah.
So this way it's just easier. Don't bother with the pennies.
This is terrible for parallels.
Now I can't play this very long without a takedown. So you'll just get a few seconds. You ready?
I'm ready. This is exciting. I can't keep editing while you're... Okay. That... Okay. I'm going to keep editing. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Don't bother with the pennies.
This is terrible for parallels.
Possibly.
That's
But
been
parallels
the
offer...
The two of them have been...
Parallel... Possibly.
That's-
But
Hi, Tesla. For parallels.
I can't
Parallels
believe you're
do
doing
cool
this
stuff,
on
though.
the air.
Sorry?
I can't believe you're doing this on the air.
Well, okay. You guys can go. Bye? Yes, you should
Kevin,
sing
you
it
should
for...
sing it.
That's what I want. I want Kevin
I'm
to
not
sing
gonna
it for me.
My voice is
No,
shot.
Kevin's going to sing it. Make a recording for us.
does not like fancy tools. He just wants
But I'm not
really...
saying... I'm saying not the fancy ones. I'm saying just if the regular VMware Fusion... So VMware Fusion apparently is free now.
Really?
Is what we're arguing about there. Yeah. They got bought and now... Okay. Oh, am I at the end? All right. Well, I think we should let you finally get that hot shower that you've been waiting for.
I do want that hot shower. But until next we speak to you, remember everyone, stay patched so you stay secure.
Now, how come they're that close at the end there? That's weird. Whoop.
Because you took out a bunch of pieces that added up very close to what the accumulated delay was.
Okay.
You were pretty
shoot.
close.
Now I lost where I was. I was at the end. And then
Yes.
it jumped forward. I don't know if my cursor's there. Yes. Okay.
That's pretty good.
All right. Now I can read the ending.
Now it's a wrap.
Okay. Not yet. Not yet. Here's a chapter mark GIF. There you go. All right.
Bacon. Zoe would love this.
What?
It's a piece of bacon, I think.
No, that's a book, Steve.
No, the thing that's marking.
Do you remember books?
No, not the book. The thing that's getting marked in the book. It looks like a piece of bacon.
What are you talking about? That is a book that's open. Like, he's medicated, guys.
Okay, hit the GIF symbol. Make it animated. You maybe.
Okay. Okay, it didn't animate for me because I hadn't gone over it. Okay, I thought you were really losing your mind. All right, here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Don't forget to send in your 1000th episode recordings to Steve by June 23rd by emailing him at steve@podfeed.com. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com anytime you like? If you have a question or a suggestion, just send it on over. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You can follow me on Mastodon at podfeed.com/Mastodon. If you want to listen to the podcast on YouTube, you can go to podfeed.com/YouTube. If you want to join the conversation, you can join our Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack, where you can talk to me and all of the other lovely NosillaCastaways. You can support the show at podfeed.com/Patreon or the one-time donation at podfeed.com/PayPal. Remember, I don't take those sponsored posts. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Did I say June 23rd?
You did. I was just putting it in text for people to see.
Okay. Chapter mark count, lots of them.
Don't resist the temptation.
5, 6.
Okay, now I'm starting over.
Listening and stay subscribed. Bye, Frank.
8.
8.
Stay patched so you stay secure.
Well, that's going to wind up. Bart was,
All right.
he was clipping.
Well, next we speak to you, remember everyone, stay patched so you...
Little pop. All right.
You
Well, I want to show you how fast this exports. Are you ready? This
You
is...
put in your outro, right? Oh, there it is. Okay.
I did. All right. I got 8, right? That's what I said I had?
8,
All right,
yep.
here we go. Watch how fast this export is. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to hit it right on... Uh-oh, wait a second. 15 seconds. Here we go. Go. This is an hour and a half long show, and it is transcoded in 7 seconds.
Is that uploading or just transcoding locally?
Transcoding it locally. So that's the
Okay.
M3 Max doing its
Oh,
magic
7 seconds. That's not bad.
for an hour and a half show.
Yeah.
All right. You're finally dismissed at 6 o'clock. Bye,
6
everybody.
o'clock. Good
Bye,
timing.
Rose.
Goodbye,
Nailed
chat
it.
room. Thanks for joining us on Memorial Day weekend.